Hello, you guys, and welcome back to the Creative Tribe Podcast. This is a podcast about all the things that fuel a creative lifestyle. I'm Rita.
And I'm Brian.
And together we are Label Me Other. Label Me Other is our production company, and one of our goals here is to help create problem solvers. If this sounds like something that's of interest to you, then you can head over to our TikTok page to join us or to follow us, where we post almost daily, Monday through Friday. Also, you can, if you're watching us here on YouTube, make sure to go ahead and subscribe so that we can grow and build and if you enjoyed the podcast.
Yeah, help us reach our goal of 1,000 followers, please. We're trying to get to 1,000 followers. Help us reach that goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you have any questions in the realm of content creation or starting a creative lifestyle, be sure to email us at labelmeother@gmail.com, and we'll be posting new podcast episodes every Tuesday. So our first session here in the podcast is typically our vent session. This is where we get anything that's on our chest from the week off of our chest so that we aren't in a negative mood, so we can just shake it off and move on, because we believe that this is the key to creating a healthy creative lifestyle, shaking off that negative energy. So for today's vent session, we have people who are afraid of the work that gets you the praise.
Yeah. It's baffling to me that there are some people who they want to get the acclaim, they want to get the praise for their work, and they're thinking about the end goal first. They're thinking about all the success, but they ignore, or they get afraid whenever they think about the work that it's going to take to get you to that destination of that success and of that praise. And it bugs me a little bit when people are like that, because there was a situation where there was a person that, they were like, yeah, I want to, do this. I want to be known for this. I want people to know me, come to me for this. It's like, well, you got to put in the work to get to that point. It's like, you have to put in the work. You can't avoid the work.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah, you can. And I think a lot of times the fear ultimately gets to them, because just as you need to not be afraid to put in the work and to go outside of your comfort zone, outside of your box, you have to be willing to take like some hits. You have to be willing for it to fail. You have to be willing for people to say, that wasn't very good. Why did you do that? Or why did you waste your time doing that?
Right.
And I think, at least for you and I, whenever we make those attempts, we don't care if I don't say we don't care that they're well received, but we aren't afraid of it being not well received, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you just have to be open to, we're creatives. So like a lot of times we're just throwing crap at the wall. So It's not going to be for everybody every time, but you got to not be afraid to do it and to put your name on it, to say that you did it. And I think that's where some people are like, I'm okay if it does well, but if it doesn't, I don't want my name on it.
Yeah, it's like, it all makes you better, because it's like, even when you do fail, there's a lesson learned there. And it's like, the more times that you fail, the better that you get. Those are lessons learned. You can adjust, but it's like, but you got to take the chance, you got to take the risk, and you can't be afraid of that.
Right. Absolutely. That's so true. Yeah. Another kind of vent that I had for this week is just having to constantly prove yourself. And the notion that, let's say you've done so much so that people recognize you for what you do. They they claim that they see the value in what you bring, but then they haven't backed that up with a promotion or with a pay raise or with a title change to reflect that. And then when it comes time to recognize you for those actions, it's always followed up with you're doing great, but could you do this? Could you also do this? Could you lead this project? Could you do this so that we can add this to it? And it's just that notion of being like, I'm constantly having to prove myself when you already know that I've proven myself.
Right.
And then you've probably hit that mental block where you're like, these people don't value me. It's time for me to look elsewhere, to move on. And then to have that last ditch request of like, can you do this, being it being the nail in the coffin. If you don't do it, then you know you're never going to progress in that position. And
Right.
if you choose to do it, you got to pull yourself out of your kind of web of negativity and seeing that these people don't appreciate you and move on. So yeah, I know I'm totally venting here for sure,
No,
but
no. I mean that's what it's here for. And thinking about it, it makes me think that a lot of times, like whenever you do excel at your job and you're really good and you work and you believe that you're ready to move to the next level, sometimes the people above you, they want to keep you there because you're so good at what you do. So it's kind of like
yeah,
this gift and the curse. Like you're really good at what you do, and they don't want you to leave from that position because you're making the workflow move how smoothly and how they like it. And
yeah,
it's just they want to put obstacles in your way to try to keep you there, try to come
yeah,
up with
yeah.
whatever reason to keep you where you are.
Yeah. It's kind of that like that notion of like you do your job so well, so much so that you make it look easy. And then people think, oh, let's add more stuff to their plate. Obviously, they aren't struggling to get that work done, but it's just that you're very efficient at what you do and you're really good at doing that thing
Mm-hmm.
that you make it look so easy, like it's effortless for you when it
Yep.
actually is a lot of work that goes into it to making it look that easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like a double-edged sword, I guess.
All the while, it seems like mediocrity rises to the top. And that's another vent session, but I'm going to save that for another time. Because yeah, it does appear that way that
Yeah.
sometimes mediocrity rises to the top. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, yeah. We better drop it there. We're gonna drop it there.
Right, right,
Okay.
right.
All right. So this brings us to our main topic for today. We've got to compromise or to not compromise on your vision. What do you think about
Hmm.
this, Brian?
Yeah, it's like, in whatever, I'm just going to use filmmaking as the example. So they say that, you have a vision and you put it down in the script, but throughout that filmmaking process of making that film, that script gets rewritten 3 times.
Yeah.
It gets written, of course, the first time you put pen to paper when you're writing the script. It gets rewritten again when you're on set and you have to make changes, for whatever
Hmm.
reasons. It gets rewritten then. And then in the editing phase, it gets rewritten because you're seeing things as they are, or as you record, as you captured it, and you're
Yeah.
making changes there. Well, maybe this scene doesn't work. We need to take it out, or maybe we need to add another scene or add extra stuff to it. So you're rewriting it there. And so that made me think about how people tell you not to compromise on your vision. They say, no, be steadfast, don't compromise on your vision. But then it made me think, well, naturally in the creative process, and especially when you're working with other creatives, when you're working in like a team environment, there
Hmm.
is some compromise to to your vision and to what you're doing. So my question is, how do you pick and choose what to compromise on?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like this is there's this battle where I want to stick to it, but then you know I, I have to because I'm working with other people, and working with other people or the situation, it
Hmm.
has to change.
Yeah.
That vision has to be compromised a little bit.
Yeah. You brought up an interesting point in that, like, I kind of do see a difference between a film compromising
Mm-hmm.
and an actual team environment project.
Okay.
So like for me for film, if you are, you've produced a script and you have, let's say you wrote for a female black lead, then a compromising of turning that lead into a Caucasian woman,
Mm-hmm.
that's a no-go because that changes the fundamentals of like what that character's perspective is. You just can't do that. But if
Mm-hmm.
it's like, hey, let's change the movie from color to black and white, then that maybe could be something that could enhance the character's vision or what she's seeing or what he's seeing or what have you. But when it comes to like team settings, like that's a whole different game because you want everyone to feel like they have an invested stake in the project. And when they don't have that, then you get the whole like sitting in the corner. I'm gonna
Yeah.
back up.
Well,
I'm gonna let that person take it. This is
whatever
their
you guys
brain
want to
baby.
do.
Yes.
Yeah.
The yeah. the cardinal, whatever you guys want, it's fine. They don't have skin in the game, and so then it just becomes you running your vision within a project, and I think that can be detrimental. And I feel like I've been in experiences like that where, but oh man, what do you do though when the people's ideas are not that great? Like what if their ideas just aren't fueling the product? So
I mean, well,
it's tough.
I think in that situation, you do what you can. You throw
Yeah.
out your suggestions like, hey, teammate, whatever, colleague, maybe we should go. Have you thought about doing it this way? This may be a different way to go by it.
Yeah.
If they don't want to take that advice, then it's like, okay, I'm just going to back off. Now I'm not going to back all the way off. I'm going to do what I'm tasked to do within this project, within this team project. But I'm about, well, let's just see and learn. Let's just see what happens. If it's good, great. But if it fails, then it's like, well, it's a lesson learned.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that's all I can control. I can't control if this person wants to take the advice or not. All we can then do is just learn from whatever happens.
Oh, that's tough though, because okay, I agree with you to a degree. Like, yes, let's try their ideas. Let's explore that. Who's to say that I am like my ideas are going to be top?
Yeah. Yeah.
But what if it's to the point where it doesn't match your aesthetic? Like the project, the direction they want to go in the project just doesn't match your aesthetic as a designer, as a person. And then like you're having to put your name on this team project. I mean, it's almost like I'd rather work alone if it's like that. Like I need to have like a matched energy when it comes to the look and feel.
These are all things. I mean, again, like that's another topic that we should talk about. It's like how, as a creative, how do you work as a team? How do you work in a team environment where your identity, your aesthetic, really sometimes it has to take a back seat a little bit in a team environment because it's not all about what serves you.
Yeah.
It's about what serves the team. But that's not the topic right now. We can come back to that. I mean, I mean, you have to know that, yeah, it's just in a team environment, it's not about your aesthetic is not at the forefront. It's a combination of what everybody brings to the table. You can try to fill your aesthetic in wherever you can.
Yeah.
And
yeah, like you said, you can try to inject it where you can. And if it's received, great. And if it's not, then you just have to take one for the team.
Yeah.
Like, I guess you just have to just take a step back and just go for the experience of working with the team.
But whatever you provide for the team is still you. It's still uniquely you.
That's true.
I mean, like, that's how I see it. I mean, it's like, yeah, it may not be fully you.
Yeah.
But it's still your contribution is you. In a team environment, I feel like you just have to accept that. I feel like you cause issues when you try to if you try to force your aesthetic on the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. And it goes back to having people feel like they don't have an invested stake. So it's like, if Rita's going to go on and make it this way because that's the way she wanted, you're going to put the work in, then okay, and then they're just like, let me know what you need. And then that's it,
Again, it's like you can't be focused on what the other person is doing. You need to be focused on what you're tasked to do. I feel like that's how you avoid those issues, because that person being like, well, if you want to do that, then okay. You're more concerned about what Rita is doing instead of you being concerned about your part of the project.
Well, yeah, I get what you're saying. And I was thinking more of like the overall project direction, like agreeing on the direction of, like, for example, should we be using animation style in animated characters, or should we be using real life people? Like I'm thinking more like the direction of like the look and feel of how the project would go. But definitely to your point, like if if we're getting down to the nitty gritty of my part and what I'm going to do for it, then yeah, I just need to worry about my portion and what I'm responsible for.
Yeah.
But and like you said, maybe this is just a totally different topic in the sense of like disagreeing on creative direction and the way things would go.
Yeah.
And I think it would be just so much easier if you just had a person who is of the same mindset as you when it comes to creative design.
Mhm.
It just makes it easier, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and I think that, yeah, once you get down to the nitty gritty, then you get into, I mean, because like, you know, like with us, it's not the overall aesthetic that where we may bump heads. It's just the mechanics of going, like how we go by doing that, you know.
Yeah.
like that's you know, but that's, you know, that's a different, again, that's a different topic. But I think it comes down to with compromise, in my opinion, you have to pick and choose and be strategic on where you compromise and where you're more open, you know, to like, no, this is what I want to do. This is what it needs to be.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So we are to the next section of our podcast, which is our Creative Tribe community building. And recently I put out a post on Instagram where I was asking my fellow creatives if they would be interested in doing a 45-day creative challenge. So I'm going to outline here what the things were for this challenge. And you guys let me know in the comments below or on TikTok or wherever if you'd be interested in doing something like this. So for this particular challenge, I'm thinking I'm piggybacking it off the 75-day challenge, which is similar in some natures. The first thing is that you would read 10 pages a day from a self-help book, fiction, nonfiction. It really doesn't matter because I think reading it just helps to spark creativity. 30 minutes of movement. So get up from your desk, move around, you know, get your body going. 96 ounces of water so that you can hydrate. And then also produce one creative thing per week. So this could be anything, but it's just working that creative muscle to where at the end of the week, you just have something that you made, that you created. And then lastly, just work 30 minutes a day toward your business or in your business or the growth of your business. So just dedicating time to set aside to working on you and what you want to ultimately be in this space. So that's the challenge. I started it yesterday. Well, let me say I started Monday. I failed. I started Tuesday. I failed. Wednesday though, I was actually able to accomplish all the things on the list here. It was a slight challenge. Obviously it was a challenge if I failed 2 days in a row. But it was interesting. It was interesting, like actually sitting outside that time and being like, okay, let me set a 30-minute timer. Start now. I'm finna do this for 30 minutes. And so I think I'm interested to see where this will go. Hopefully, you know, today will go good. I won't backslide. But it's interesting. It's just putting deadlines down and just saying, hey, today I'm gonna do this. So I'll keep you guys posted.
Yeah. I mean, I can't. Well, I try those challenges, but it's like, yeah, it's like, you know, it's really tough. It's tough. So I hope you can, you know,
make it through.
Yeah, I'm praying that you can make it
through. It is
Yeah.
tough, man. I have so much going on. I'm like, can I even like fit this in? But you know, I'm going for it. We're gonna see. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to today's podcast. If you like what we're providing here, please head over to our TikTok page and give us a follow. Also, if you don't mind, subscribe here to YouTube. Once again, we're trying to get to 1,000 followers, so that would really, really help us out. Also,
yes, please,
if you would,
please.
Yeah, if you'll give us a like, that will help us grow here on TikTok. If you're listening to us on any of the podcast sites, then you know, maybe drop a review if you've enjoyed it. And lastly, if you have any questions in the realm of content creation or starting a creative lifestyle, be sure to email us at labelmeother@gmail.com and we'll be sure to get back with you guys. Thanks again for listening.
Thanks.